as you know, the local plan's actually gone past its sell-by date, but that doesn't mean it's not important. It's still critically important. But what we're getting is speculative applications, and they're of size. We're talking 2,000 here, 1,000 there. How do you cope with the planning arrangements around such things? Because one of the biggest criticisms we've got is the lack of thought through infrastructure to support all of those things, including schools. And my second point to this would be that my preference, particularly in an area like Harborough, certainly Market Harborough itself, would be that we invest in the two great schools, secondary schools that we've got there. There's certainly a big enough footprint to allow further expansion. And you've got another school in Kibworth, which has also done extremely well from prior years. I'd like to see that Section 106 money is prioritised on existing and distributed fairly to other schools, smaller schools, in the support of the catchment to those senior schools as well.
Great question. So it's really quite complicated because we find that developers would rather have brand new schools because it sells houses, whereas we are keen to expand existing provision where at all possible because it creates greater sustainability for that local community. And inevitably, it will be a mix of the two by and large. But when you're building a new secondary school, it is really significant. So you'll be talking around a minimum of 900 places, and you'll be looking at £24 million to build a 900 place secondary school, for example. So we will look to do that as effectively as possible and taking into account the entire school ecosystem, because the last thing we want to do is build a school in a particular area, which will then cause viability issues for other schools as well. So our general principle is local schools for local children wherever possible. We've also looked at our developer contribution arrangements as well. So that's just been reviewed because our feeling was that developers weren't paying us enough money, and our research has been very clear that has been the case. Some of that's because we've had a historical problem around the inflationary pressures because we got 106 7 years ago, and the inflationary building pressures have been really significant. So that's created a bit of a shortfall, but we have realigned all of that now. So I'm really confident.
The monitoring of Section 106 money is absolutely critical. We've got several situations where there is potential of Section 106 money being handed back because it wasn't spent in the appropriate period as well. And I don't understand the relationship between yourselves and the districts and how the Section 106 money is divvied up and monitored. Certainly districts have their own monitoring capacity, or don't, but should. And I know that you guys do. Is that right?
So we monitor, when a Section 106 agreement is drawn up, it's specified about what the purposes of that funding can be spent on, by who, and which areas. As a county, we like to have it as loose as possible. Developers like to have it as tight as possible, because for that very reason, that then you have to repay the money. We make sure that it's loose enough so that we can spend it in the right way at the right time, and we also can use it to forward fund projects where we need to as well. But we keep a very close eye on it, and when and I chair a meeting, a capital meeting, which reviews all of the capital spend and the Section 106 spend and when it's due, to make sure we don't end up in a situation where we're having to repay it.
Okay, just one last question on that then. Can I ask that you, when you are asked to comment on planning applications, and when you're aware that they're particularly speculative, and I hope that is something you are aware of, that you are quite terse with the developers in their proposal and demanding, because if those things aren't satisfied properly, then we'll always be sold short. And so it's absolutely critical that if district doesn't do it because of fear of going to inspector or whatever, that the county actually does hold the line on those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really happy to challenge any development that's coming forward that isn't providing enough 106 money, whether it be through the speculative route or whether the district aren't challenging enough. We would certainly want to do that, because otherwise we won't be able to provide the school places that are needed.